Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I had the chance to sign up for a Christian fundamentalist newsletter a while ago, and it has provided me with some entertaining reading. They're very focused on Armageddon and how it's coming very soon. Now, this is not to make fun of that particular Christian sect, although I admit I'm doing it mostly so that they're expending money for mailing and I get the stuff for free. But rather, it shows how much time and effort people are willing to spend focused on their own mortality. The essential message of all these magazines and books and the other material they send you is pretty much along the same line. Judgment Day is coming, it's coming soon, and you better get ready for it. This is actually echoed in the Bible. I forget which book, but Jesus says something to the effect of, I'll be coming back soon. Now, the more mystical minded among us say, oh, but soon in a cosmic sense can mean anything. And that is true. I personally am not enough of a theologian to interpret what soon means. But every single generation, and I do believe around the world, has had some sort of cult or sect or religious organization that says soon is in your lifetime. Ernest Becker called this the Thanatos complex. Not Thanos, Thanatos. Because Thanatos and Eros are opposite ideas. His idea of psychology was that the first thing that any sapient creature is aware of is itself. And the second thing is it realizes there was a point it didn't exist, so there must come another point where it doesn't exist, and that causes the Thanatos complex. Eros being love, love for oneself, love for another, and Thanatos being an instinctual obsession with death. And there's no denying the Thanatos complex. Humans love to see death and destruction and chaos and murder. Turn on the news. If it bleeds, it leads, so the saying goes. And that's more true now than ever. The Ukrainian war is in its third year now. Every day there's an update. The Israel-Hamas war, because it's not against Palestine, it's against Hamas. It's going into its second year. And people just love to see, the tanks and the planes and the soldiers running around. Heck, even our video games feature that quite frequently. Your objective is to do X, and to do X, you have to get rid of all these people and monsters that are trying to stop you from doing X. And usually that's by violent means. But this end of the world idea goes back to another idea that Ernest Becker had that seems to be in conflict with the Thanatos complex. But it's that it's very, very difficult. Well, he says impossible. I'm amending it to very, very difficult to conceive of your own non-existence. This is true. What do you think the world's going to be like in 200 years? Is anybody going to remember you? I would hope so. I would hope everybody does something meaningful or has family or anything really that is willing to light a candle or have a picture in their Facebook notes when Facebook obituaries become a thing. Well, they are a thing. And we focus on that to our great detriment. What do we say when something hurts? What do we say when we're not feeling well? Oh, I'm dying. We know that's a gross exaggeration for the most part. There's some kinds of pain, there's some kinds of suffering that are incredibly horrible. There's some kind of diseases where a person might literally be passing away. But it's an obsession for us. And a lot of people take comfort in knowing that they will be there at the end of the world so that whatever comes afterwards will still be post humanity, post Homo sapiens, whatever it might be. They will be part of the last generation. They will be the ones, well, almost unanimously, they believe they're the ones that will be saved, which I've always found rather arrogant. But that's their coping mechanism for dealing with such a dark subject. Can you imagine the end of the world? Let's take a moment. Um, let's go with the most popular scenario. The meteor or asteroid that's so big it, you know, turns the surface of the planet into magma and exterminates everything. You can bet a whole lot of people would be running around doing some crazy things, and other people would be praying to their various and sundry deities for salvation. Not salvation of the body, because we can ration. Our body is not going to survive that damage. That's why we know not to stick our hands in working machines. It's how we know when the bicycle's going, don't stick your hand in the chain. Our brain is fully equipped to realize this can hurt me bad. You know not to jump out of the 12th story of an apartment because your brain can realize this can hurt me bad. And let's leave self-destructive people out of this for a second. It's an interesting sidebar and perhaps worth getting into one day. But at present we're dealing with the people who for one reason or another have identified with the Thanatos instinct and embraced the idea of mass death in their lifetime. Are these people ill-intentioned or good-intentioned? Now, this is an interesting philosophical question because while their philosophy would necessitate a vengeful deity coming down to judge the wicked and the righteous, their good intention is to try to warn as many people as possible. Note, they don't say that you can be saved, but they believe they can be saved. But by saving you, even though you're not possible to be saved, they're somehow going to be saved. Yeah, I know, the whole idea of the elect has never calculated out in my head either. Was it 166,000 people from all of time and space are the ones to be saved, and you think you're in that number? To quote the old song, When the Saints Go Marching In. I don't believe in the elect. I believe in a just God. I don't believe in an all-powerful God because he gave us freedom of choice. And people are choosing to occupy their mental energies with eschatological fantasies. And these people are convinced, oh yes, it's coming any day now. We get prophets. Every couple of years they announce, oh, the big one's coming, get ready and stuff like that. I have a running total of about 12 apocalypse predictions I've survived. Remember 2012 was going to be the end of the planet? We're all still here. Remember 2000? Yeah, the whole world was going to shut down, the nuclear missiles were going to go wild, and everyone was going to be, a wild mutant roaming the wastelands searching for water. We're still here. I was just picking on two. The fact is, eschatology, the idea that the end of the world is coming soon, is comforting for some people. Again, leaving aside self-destructive people. It's something their minds can comprehend. And in a way, it validates their life cycle. Because a peasant in the 1400s might have a birth and death record at their local chapel, because that's what chapels did. They wrote down, John Smith of the Smith family, born 1327, passed in 1490. What else do we know about him? Nothing besides the fact he lived in this particular community and went to that particular church. Sadly, a lot of us are John Smiths and Jane Does and any other name that might be in that registry. Fortunately, because of Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, and all these other social media outlets, there is a future for internet archaeology where we'll actually be able to do a deep dig into what people thought was popular and what people were interested in. And we'll go with obsessed with as well. Because we all know that one person that won't shut up about politics. We all know that one person that won't shut up about model railroad trains. Who's worse? I don't know, but I'd rather hang out with the model railroad person. The death is an eventuality, at least at the present. Ray Kurzweil, the man who invented Xerox, has invented, not the company, the actual Xerox machine, has invested a personal fortune into trying to find a way to become immortal. He's saying within the next 15-20 years, you'll be able to upload yourself to the internet and live a kind of virtual life there. Now, this has a whole lot of ramifications to it. It is technically escaping death, but I still believe there's an energy matrix, whatever you want to call it, a soul, a spirit, a spark. I don't think that goes into the internet, and it's really the thing that moves on. This is why the Armageddon concept is attractive, because it's salvation. It's bodily and spiritual salvation. You might have to go through the throes of death, but you're instantly redeemed and sent off into some sort of paradise where your eternal reward is waiting for you, and all those other fun things that they love to say. It's a mental escape hatch. And believe me, it's not hard to see why they do it. Life is scary, has been for decades. Again, focusing on the media, and I'm including all media here, they love to report on tragedy. Heck, a month or two ago, a school right next to my daughter's had a lockdown situation because somebody decided to bring some to school that they shouldn't have, and my daughter didn't even know about it until I came home and asked, did they make an announcement or something? No. So they chose to keep the children ignorant rather than explain it. I don't have a problem with this because it's a scary concept, and explaining it to a bunch of kids is not a job. How do I say this? Not that I don't want the teachers to do it, because they have a right to do it. It's that the teachers are so overburdened with everything else on their plate. It's something they just didn't need to get into that particular day. And hopefully they never need to. Because it's a complicated subject. I've come to my terms with it. The fundamentalist cults and people like that, they've come to terms with it. But a lot of people never really do. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard, oh, I knew my father was passing away, and either the nurses and doctors were there performing on him or couldn't get there in time or whatever, and I just wanted to hug him or her. I should include mothers in that. I just wanted to hug them one more time. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that story, and it resonates with me. And unfortunately, it's far too common. We are not equipped in this lifetime to truly understand what goes on in the afterlife. I rather hope it's something like Dead Like Me, where some of us get to become reapers, and maybe some of us get to smoke reefers. Or you get to go to some imaginary fantasy land, which was depicted in the series. I'd like to think that. Can I prove it? No. But I think my way is a little healthier than obsessing enough to write several books on doomsday just because I want other people to be convinced it's going to happen soon. Now, I could be cynical. I could say this is their way of making money. I haven't engaged with them enough to figure out the way they make money. I'm sure they get donations. They have to fund this printing press somehow, and it's an in-house printing press. Ask the author, I can always tell it. It's a quality one, I will say that. They spent money on these books. But at the same token, every month or so they produce a magazine, so not a big one. It's just they do a good job for the money that they have. But imagine sitting there thinking every day, what am I going to produce? What am I going to write about? What section of the Bible am I going to quote from? And the essay quote from the Bible to convince people of what I want them to think. Hey, I got to think about what kind of a show I'm going to produce every single day. Sometimes I get lucky, sometimes I don't. I got to think about the books that I write every day. What am I going to continue with? I wrote a whole paragraph the other day. Actually, no, it was like 3 paragraphs. And then I realized it deserved to be its own chapter. Well, got to go back and redo that one. Which one do you think is healthier? Nothing. Because we're not here to judge. We're here to document. And you know what? That's what's helping them. As I said, the Thanatos complex is very, very difficult to wrestle with. Most people don't have the stamina. Most people don't have the ability to really conceive of their own non-existence. And I admit that is a possibility. Perhaps it does just go dark. There's no afterlife. There's no nothing. As Rick and Morty demonstrated, it's very uneventful when it happens. Scary to think of it that way. But something to think about. I don't think we're going to end with mushroom clouds. I don't think we're going to end with fire and brimstone being rained down with an angel with a fiery sword. I don't think we're going to get the meteor or the asteroid. We've developed our technology enough. We have some chance of dealing with such a thing. And anything bigger than that, in time we'll be able to deal with it. Either by spreading out or by getting enough power at our fingertips to deal with it. But an Armageddon situation, heck, what if humanity does spread out to the moon, to the Mars, to the closest stars? Does Armageddon happen for everybody at the exact same time across the universe? That'll confuse some aliens. Why are these people chasing you, and why do they have wings and swords, and what's happening here? It's a weird concept. But if you have an open mind, and if you have a good mental filter, I do recommend reading at least 1 or 2 of them. Feel free to put it down. It's not really page-turning literature. It's just my sheer determination to read everything that I possibly can. And ask yourself how that affects your life. Because it is an eventuality, at least at the present time. Good luck to Ray Kurzweil. He's getting older. I'm sure he's got a major interest in solving this problem now. For me, I don't have that scientific expertise. What I have is a computer and a button that lets me record. So, with that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. Well, enjoyed might be the wrong word. I hope you found it enlightening. Share, because sharing is caring. Just click the subscribe button if you haven't clicked it already. Don't forget to click the notification icon down below so that way you can be updated every time we upload a new episode. And we hope you have a fantastic day.